There are thousands of games on Roblox that used to be packed with players. Some had hundreds of thousands of visits, and some defined entire eras of Roblox. And some were places people spent years making memories, but today they're almost completely empty. So I wanted to go back and see what these forgotten worlds look like now. Are they still worth playing, or were they abandoned for a reason? Let's find out. Our first stop is Built to Survive the Zombies. If you played Roblox years ago, there's a good chance you've heard of this game. It was one of the original survival games where players would rush to build a base before the zombies arrived. Back then, servers were packed. People were building together, defending their forts, and trying to survive wave after wave. But today, it's almost completely empty. I wanted to see if this game still holds up or if it's just another forgotten piece of Roblox history. Alright. It's very colorful, very colorful. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting more of an apocalypse kind of vibe, but this just looks like a regular tycoon. Alright, so we got three tools right here. Um, a color selector. Wow. Alright, remover. Okay, builder. Let's do just some plastic. Alright, guys, look. We have 2 minutes to build our base. Oh crap. Zombies are coming, zombies are coming. King Zombie. Yo, this is light work. Going into this, I was expecting a chaotic zombie survival game, but almost immediately I noticed how plain everything felt. The map barely had any detail, there weren't many textures in it. The first thing that stood out to me was how many paid upgrades there were. I don't know if they're actually necessary, but it definitely gives off a pay to win vibe. Then the zombie wave finally started, and honestly, it was pretty underwhelming. Instead of rushing the base or feeling like a real threat, most of the zombies just stood next to me and jumped around, and they were just like not doing any damage to the base. There wasn't much excitement, and by the end, I was just waiting for the wave to finish. Our next stop is Twisted Murderer. Long before Murder Mystery 2 became one of Roblox's biggest games, this was where players came to test their luck and figure out who the killer was. Back then, every round was filled with panic, people accusing each other, and complete chaos. Today, it's almost silent. Let's see if this old classic still has what made it so popular, or if it was left behind for a reason. This game was actually a surprise. It's basically the original version of Murder Mystery before Murder Mystery 2 became the giant it is today. And honestly, it still holds up pretty well. Right away, I noticed the maps had a lot more detail than the last game. Everything felt more polished, and I could actually see why people spent so much time playing it back then. But the most interesting part wasn't the game. It was the only other player I found. Instead of exploring alone, I actually got to talk to someone who knew the history of the game. I asked him why the game seemed so empty, and he explained that the creator eventually stopped working on it to focus on other projects. The game was shut down for a long time before recently being reopened, which explains why almost nobody is here now. So, unlike the last game, this one wasn't really abandoned because it was bad. It was abandoned because people simply moved on while it was gone. Why do you think no one plays this game anymore?
Because the game was down for like I don't know, it was down for a while
It
because he
was
just
down.
brought the game back up. Yeah, like the game had got shut down, and like I think they said the dude who made the game Taymaster, I
Hmm.
think they said that he stopped making he started working on a new game, so he just stopped
Oh,
working on the. You know what I mean?
yeah, so he just
I
shut
forgot
it
the
down
name
so
of
you
it.
could.
It's another game he was working on though that he owns, and a lot of people were playing. And so I think this game just died out. But this game's like really good in my opinion. Like I literally still play it, and I'm grown as fuck now.
Yeah,
I'm
that's cool.
18. I still play this shit. This shit fun as hell.
So far, we've explored games that felt forgotten, but this one is a little bit different. This is The Stalker Reborn, one of Roblox's older horror games. Years ago, players would team up and try to survive while being hunted through dark maps. But horror games rely on people. Without a full server, there's nobody talking, nobody running around, and nobody to distract you from how quiet everything is. Let's see if this game is still scary or if it's just another abandoned piece of Roblox history. Alright, so this might be the best game I've played yet in this video. Unlike some of the other games we've visited, this one feels incredibly well made. The graphics held up really well. The atmosphere is exactly what you'd want from a horror game. To even start a match, I had to invite a few people because the game was so empty. Once we got in, it was just the four of us running through almost complete darkness while a stalker hunted us down. We were armed with guns, but that didn't make it any less terrifying. The goal was simple: survive long enough to kill the stalker. I didn't exactly make it. No! What surprised me the most is that this game doesn't really feel abandoned because it's bad. It feels abandoned because time moved on. It stopped getting the same attention, newer horror games took over, and once a player count started dropping, it became harder to fill lobbies. And for a game that's built around teamwork, that's a huge problem. Even after all these years, the lighting, sound design, and gameplay still hold up. Out of everything we played so far, this is definitely one of the best, and I honestly think it deserves more players. Our next stop is the Underground War, one of Roblox's oldest PvP games. Years ago, these tunnels were packed with players fighting over the flag, defending their bases, and trying to outsmart the other team. Today, it's a completely different story. The tunnels are almost silent, the bases are empty, and it feels more like I'm exploring the ruins of an old Roblox battlefield rather than playing a multiplayer game. Let's see if this classic still deserves to be remembered. As soon as I joined the Underground War, it felt like I had stepped back into old Roblox. Even though the game was created in 2019, it captures that classic 2010 to 2016 Roblox vibe really well. The simple graphics, the maps, and the gameplay all feel like something from that era. Unlike some of the other games on this list, this one actually had people playing. There were about 19 players online, so it wasn't completely abandoned. The game itself is pretty straightforward. It's a capture the flag style battle where both teams fight through underground tunnels to steal the enemy's flag. And honestly, it's still sort of fun. But I also understand why it never stayed popular. There's nothing really wrong with it, it's just simple. Back when it was released, this style of game stood out a lot more. But in 2026, Roblox has evolved. There are games with bigger maps, more mechanics, and a lot more depth. So I don't think this game died because it was bad. I think it was simply left behind as Roblox kept growing, like some other games. Even so, it's still a fun reminder of what Roblox games used to feel like. We've reached the final game, and I don't think I could have picked a better one to end on. This is the original Roblox High School. Years ago, this wasn't just another game. It was one of the biggest places to hang out in Roblox. People would roleplay, make friends, and drive around the map, and spend hours here after school. Today, most of those players are gone. I wanted to take one last walkthrough of one of Roblox's most iconic games to see what it feels like now. Okay, after exploring all these forgotten games, I finally reached Roblox High School. Going into this, I expected another empty Roblox world, but I was honestly surprised. There were around 80 players online, and the game actually felt alive. The game really shows what old Roblox was all about. It wasn't just about winning or completing objectives, it was about hanging out, meeting people, and creating your own story. You can choose different roles, explore an entire neighborhood, go to classrooms, drive cars, customize your outfit, and just chill with other players. Walking around, I actually saw people enjoying the game the way it was meant to be played. One thing I really liked was how welcoming the game felt. There's a guide that helps new players understand what to do, and the rules help keep the community from becoming complete chaos. It feels like the creators actually cared about making a place where people could have fun. The atmosphere is also something that stood out. The music is calm, the map has a lot of places to explore, and the whole game has this relaxing feeling that a lot of newer Roblox games don't really have. After playing all these old games, I think Roblox High School proves something important. Not every classic game gets forgotten. Some games survived because they gave players something more than just gameplay. They gave people a nice place to hang out and make memories. And honestly, I can see why people still come back here. After exploring all these forgotten Roblox games, I think the biggest thing I noticed is that every game had its own story. Some of them were left behind because they couldn't keep up with newer games, some lost players when the creators moved on, and some, like Roblox High School, are still alive because they gave people a reason to come back. It's crazy to think that these empty maps were once full of people. Thousands of players made friends, had fun, and created memories in these worlds. Even if these games aren't as popular as they used to be, they were still a huge part of Roblox history. So maybe these games weren't really forgotten. Maybe they're just waiting for someone to come back to them and remember them. Thank you for watching. I'm King, and I'll see you in the next one.